Faith Church, hope you're well today. Sunday is the beginning of the season of Advent, and Advent just means coming. It is the season in the church year, the beginning of the church year actually, when the church has traditionally set aside a time of waiting, a time of preparation for the coming of Christ. As I've shared before, when I was growing up, I always thought Advent was a time of waiting for Jesus to come to Bethlehem, and that never really made sense because he already came thousands of years ago. I've since learned, and a lot of you have learned, that we're not actually waiting for that coming, we're waiting for the second coming of Christ. That this 4 or so weeks before the celebration of the Christmas feast or holiday is a time focused on the second coming of Christ into the world again, when he comes again to bring heaven to earth. If you read through what's called the lectionary or traditional readings for this time of year, they have to do a lot with God's judgment, God's coming into the world to judge humankind and to set things right, which is not the way most of the world is thinking this time of year, right? We're thinking already about shepherds and angels and mangers and those sorts of things. And so I would encourage you to do your best to hold off on Christmas as best as you can. We're going to decorate the sanctuary. It's being decorated right now, actually, and it'll be lots of Christmas things. That's part of the culture that we live in. But in the church, we really don't want to skip over this time of waiting and preparation. Christmas, as you know, starts on December 25th and runs for 12 days to January 6th, Epiphany, and that's really the celebration of Christ's birth. One of the ways that you can hold off and be countercultural in this way is to join us as we read through the Gospel of Matthew. We're going to be starting Sunday with Matthew chapter 1. It happens to be our text for the day. At least the first part of it, Matthew 1-17. This is the beginning of the Christmas story, as Matthew tells it. It's not the one that you usually hear read on Christmas Eve, certainly, but I want to help us see how this list of names, I think it's 42 different names or so, in Jesus' genealogy, is actually a beautiful, beautiful part of the Christmas story. So anyway, we'll be reading through Matthew starting Sunday, and I would just really encourage, many of you are doing this already, but to set aside 15, 30 minutes or more, if you're able, each day to read through a portion of Matthew's gospel and reflect on the life and teachings and then ultimately death and resurrection of Christ. One of the best, we spend this season doing so many things that in some ways distract us from the celebration that we really are lifting up. And this is one of those ways we can bring our attention back to Christ, who is the center, who ought to be the center of all we do. So I just would invite you and urge you to join us in this. As I mentioned, Sunday we're going to look at this story of Jesus' genealogy. And I'm going to make a connection to another image of Christmas. We talked about lights last Sunday. We're going to talk about tables this Sunday. Jesus' family tree and tables might not seem a natural connection to you, but I hope that I'll help you make that connection on Sunday. Really looking forward to being together. We will celebrate the Lord's Supper together. What a great way to begin Advent. And also our first Sunday Sabbath, which a couple of life groups are putting on a really special time between the services. I hope you'll join us for that. So looking forward again to worshiping with you. I hope you are well today. Wherever you are, I pray that you would sense the love of God as your Father and the grace and the peace of Christ, his Son, and the presence, the fellowship of the Spirit with you. Peace.